Welcome everybody. A very good evening. Today we plan to start with our course. The last two sessions we had an introduction. There are some amongst you who have joined today for the first time. I would strongly advise you to go through the introductory lectures that we had taken up earlier. That will give you a very good idea about this Python ecosystem, what Python is all about. It will also help you to understand how Python is different than other languages. A glimpse about how Python runs. Not that we are not going to discuss about it later. Even in the course later, we'll go ahead with a detailed discussion as to how Python program runs, what those bytecodes are, those things we'll see later. But the introductory session will give you a very good idea about the technology, the language that we're going to learn. Because there are some striking features which other languages do not provide, especially the integration with various languages that it provides. That's a specialty about Python. So do make sure, my strong advice, those who have missed the introductory session, it's public on our YouTube channel. So do visit the YouTube channel. I'll just share the link of the YouTube channel in the chat window. So do make sure that you visit that YouTube channel and you watch those introductory videos. And believe me, you'll understand a lot many things. Normally, even those people who have learned Python, they are also not aware. So that shouldn't be the case for you. You learn Python language and not aware about how things actually are in Python. That should never happen with you as my students. So I would strongly advise you do go through the introductory video. And it's always good for us to know about a language before we actually start using or learning that language. So that will give us a very good idea about what Python is all about. Now, having finished with the introduction, it's time for us to start with the language. Now, when we start with the language, with every language, normally whenever we begin with the basic concepts. I personally believe while we learn a language, we should learn the language from scratch, assuming that you do not have any programming background. Many of you may be having a programming background, and those who have programming background should really have some patience, because a lot of times we reach to a conclusion. Oh, I know this. Oh, this is very simple. I can manage it on my own, and there is where we commit a mistake. In the world of programming, the day when you say I know everything, you're over, because it's constantly evolving. Even Python as a language is constantly evolving. So even today, if you ask me, and sir, do you know complete Python? I'll say I am pretty good in Python. If I say I know complete Python, every day there is new things which are being added. So it's actually there is a learning process which always keep on happening. So in IT field, we are always a learner. We are always nobody is like an expert. Everybody is a learner, because there are more than 2 lakh libraries which are there in Python. Now, how in the world can you say I know about everything, every library, that is every package, every module, every concept that is available in Python? As a language, we learn everything. But when you start using this language, there are so many things that you can do. So it's a continuous learning process. Languages evolve, languages change. So my warning for those who come from C, C++, Java background, don't be in haste. You are here for surprises. Whatever your ideas are, how programs run, how variables are stored, how things really happen, you're going to have a shock when it comes to Python. Python, lot of things it manages very differently as compared to what other traditional languages do. All your general purpose language like C, C++, Java, C hash, they have a lot in common. Python also has a lot in common, but there are a lot of things, the fundamental things which are different. Okay, so let's begin a discussion with the very first topic, that is data types in Python. Now, every language has an ability or should have an ability to differentiate between different data types. If you want to carry out operations, and if you do not know whether the data that I have is a number or a character, then how will I know should I multiply it or should I add it or should I concat it? We will not be in a position to know that. So the nature of the data is something very important, because if I have two numbers I could multiply, if I have 2 days, I cannot go ahead multiplying. The type of the data itself tells us what operations are valid and what operations are invalid, isn't it? So the nature of the data is something which is very, as I gave you, I have time, I have two times. Okay, you cannot multiply times, you cannot but you can multiply numbers, but you cannot multiply names. I have Mansi and Nitya. I cannot say Mansi Nitya number of times. No, that's not going to happen. Na? Strings cannot be multiplied, text cannot be multiplied. Okay, so the nature of the data, the kind of data types that language supports is very crucial for us to understand. This is going to be one of the lengthiest topic. Why am I saying lengthiest topic? Because there are so many things that we learn. What makes Python special as compared to other general purpose language like Java and C++? Why Python is so very popular amongst the new generation developers? Why companies feel it's better to teach somebody Python than asking him to learn C++? Because the learning curve of C++, Java is very steep. But when it comes to Python, you can quickly master this particular language. Okay, it's like what we normally expect in real life, things you find it in the same fashion over here. So it's fun to learn Python. Anybody can learn Python. Even if you're in a school, you can learn Python. And if you are a software developer, it still has something to offer to everybody. Right from a kid who is in a school to a software professional who has 10 years of experience, Python has something to offer to everybody. So let's begin with this very first topic, that is data types in Python. Okay, and those who are new to Python, it's good, and those who are new to programming, it's good. Like you'll feel okay, there is learning that is happening. My warning for those who already know programming: do not form an opinion. Data types है ना, मुझे manage कर लूँगा, मुझे मालूम है. Don't do that. Languages are different. Pay respect to that language. Listen, understand, appreciate, and then you can compare. Don't form an opinion without looking into details. Otherwise, if you make a guess, and most probably in Python, when you start making guesses, your guess is going to come out to be wrong, because your guess will be on your previous experience about the previous languages, and how the things work in the previous generation languages or previous languages that you learned is very different lot of places in Python. So don't form any opinion based on your previous programming experience. Okay, that's a warning for those who already know programming. If you're a fresher, it's good because you are like an open slate. Okay, clean slate. You can start from scratch. Problem is with those guys who know programming. Okay, because they feel, this is how it must be. And then when they start writing a code, they realize जो उन्होंने सोचा है वैसा होता ही नहीं है. Things are different. So let's begin with our discussion of data types in Python. But even before I go ahead with the discussion in data types in Python, now that we are starting with this course, as we go ahead discussing some concepts, I'll definitely supply you the notes. One warning for you, warning, you may say request, you may say anything, you should have a notebook with you. Notebook is a must. Unless until you don't have notebook, and unless until you don't take notes about whatever you have learned, key points, this learning will go waste. Because during the session you feel, समझ में आ गया, समझ में आ गया. And the next day when you look at, समझने की बात छोड़ दीजिएगा, क्या डिस्कस किया था वो भी याद नहीं रहेगा. You will not be in a position to even recollect what was the concept that we had seen, what was the topic that we had discussed last. So don't let that thing happen with you. Every day, today's topic is data types in C. The first thing that you'll do is make it a good habit how to take notes. That's also very important. Okay, the first thing that you should do is put down the date when you started, then you start your points. So it should always start with the date कि आज का दिन है, आज हमने क्या पढ़ा, what are things that you learned today, what was your understanding of it. I'll be supplying you notes that will be very detailed. में notes आ ही जाएंगे. So don't worry, every example that we take, don't waste your time writing the examples, because all the examples will be shared with you. Everything that we do will be shared with you. All the scripts that we write will be shared with you. So don't worry about the notes and examples coming to you. They will all come to you automatically. Your understanding, key points, you should note it down. So आज का data types बोला, in data types whatever you understood, important features that you should note down. So that is something that you should do regularly. If you want the best out of this particular session, you really want to be a good Python programmer and to do something, or at least learn this particular language in a better way, master this language, make sure that you start taking notes, and they will go a long way. They will go a long way. And good part of Python is from Python 3.0 onwards, there is a continuity in the syntax. Before Python 3.0, the syntax used to vary. Now, henceforth, they have made a promise. Henceforth, the syntax is going to remain same. Things will not change. Okay, so it's good for us. With new version, you will get new feature, but the basic syntax will remain the same. You may be wondering, those are from programming language. Sir, it happens in every language. It never happened in Python. Python syntax before 3.0 and after 3.0, there are a lot of changes which have happened. But since 3.0, 2.0 is now discontinued. 2.7, the end of the life cycle was on in January 2020. So last 12, almost 1 year back, no more support for Python 2. Now we have Python 3. But still, at times you will have to work with Python 2 because lots of work has been done in Python 2.7. Millions of lines of code across the globe, applications have been designed in Python 2.7. While you learn Python 3.0, you can still understand Python 2.7 code. यहाँ वहाँ थोड़े बहुत syntax में changes रहेंगे. That you'll have to learn on your own. We are going to learn the latest version of Python. 3.9 is what we'll be working on. But 3.0 onwards, whatever features have been added, we'll focus on all those features. Now, for this particular course, you will require a lot of resources. Somebody is asking me for a textbook. Somebody is asking me about the softwares. I had shared with you the links where the softwares are available. You will today receive a mail from my side, wherein you will find the links to all the places from where you can download the softwares. But you don't want to waste your time downloading the software. I'm going to share with you a bundle. I have already compiled a lot of files for you. I already compiled a lot of files for you, and I have compiled and kept them in a. I have compiled and kept them in one location. Where is it? Here I go. I compiled and kept on a Google Drive with a name as Python Software Collection. I'll be sharing access with you for this Python collection, wherein you'll find all the things, Visual Studio Code, those are from Microsoft background, Python Portable that I was talking about, Python 3.8. Now you'll also have 3.9 over here for Linux, for Macs, for Windows, PyCharm, Kite, the book that I would give you for understanding Python, the Anaconda distribution of Python. You'll have all the softwares that we require for this particular course. सब कुछ एक ही जगह मिल जाएगा. So you have two choice. I'll be sharing some links with you, so you can visit those links and download the softwares each from different places, or I'll share with you access to this Google Drive. Now, once you have this access to this Google Drive, you can just download the entire folder from that Google Drive. You'll find everything at one place. So your choice. Either follow the links, which I'll be sending across in the mail, and download softwares from all those sites. One choice. Second, go to my Google Drive and take the entire bundle. So you have two choice. I'll be sending across a mail. So once you take an admission, you'll get those mail, and with that mail, you'll get all those links and the softwares. Okay, now let's begin with the topic. Let's begin with the topic. So today's topic for discussion is the concept of data types. Now, every data has a type. Every data has some kind of nature. It represents a value of certain, that value has certain characteristics. A number has a certain characteristic, a real number has a certain characteristic, a whole number has a certain characteristic, a character has a certain characteristic. They are different. A complex number is different than a decimal value. That is different than a string value that is there. So every type has some kind of characteristic. The type tells us what are the legal operations that we can perform on it, what is legal and what is illegal kind of operation do we perform on it. So let's explore this concept of data types in Python. Programming, when you talk about programming, whichever programming language you may be working on, listen to me very carefully, whichever programming language that you may have been working on, in every programming language, there will be some kind of data, and that data needs to be processed. So the very purpose of writing any program is to carry out some operation. You never write a program just like that, and in that program, you don't have to carry out any operation. But when I say any operation, what will you operate upon? You will always operate upon some data. So there will be some data which has to be manipulated, on which you will have to carry out an operation and get some another set of data. So programming is meant for processing. Any code that we write, the basic idea of writing the program is to carry out processing. So there will be some data, and that data needs to be processed. And for processing that data, you will go ahead writing programs. You will go ahead writing programs. So programming is meant for processing data. Programming is meant for processing data. And so data types are important. Data in Python programming language is represented by object. Now, those who are from object-oriented languages, you will understand object is something in the real world which I can describe. Same thing here also, data is something in the real world that I can describe. If I have a character, I can describe what that character, what type of data it is. If I have a number, I can describe what type of value it is. So in Python, everything is object. Those who come from object-oriented programming, you'll be happy with this, because what you learned in object-oriented programming, anything that we go at creating over here is always an object. So in Python, this is an object. It is something that can be identified. It is every data is something that can be identified. And once you identify it, you can describe it. Once you can describe it, you can operate upon it. You can carry out some kind of operations on it because you know what data it is all about. Objects can be built-in objects provided by Python, or objects from extension libraries, or created in by the application programmer. So you're going to have multiple different types of objects. Python provides some built-in data types. Okay, Python will provide some ready-made data types. It will provide you a list, it will provide you a dictionary, it will provide you a set, something that you learn in mathematics, a set and a list or something, a sequence kind of thing. So Python will provide some built-in data types, an integer, a character, it will provide you some built-in data types. So that will come in the language itself. In addition to that, there are some extension libraries which are there, which may or may not be bundled along with Python, that may be supplied to us separately. These are some additional libraries which are there. These libraries will also provide you some new types, and you're not happy with them. You're solving some problem to fulfill the requirement of your application. You may end up going ahead creating your own new data type as well. So understand, either we'll have the built-in data types that comes bundled along with the Python, or there are some extension libraries which you can additionally download and use it in Python that will also provide new data types, or you can create your own new data type as well. So built-in data type, data is coming from extension libraries, and data types that we can create. We'll be working with all of them in our course. So we have different kinds of objects for different data types. So I have an integer kind of object, I have a character kind of object, I have a floating kind of object, I have a date object, I have a time object. Everything is different. Every date and time and numbers, everything, all those things are different. Each value of Python program is of a specific type. Everything is of a specific type. If I say I have something with me right now. I say this is something that I have. This is a thing which is of type battery, correct? While this is what I have, this is a thing of type a bottle. So everything has a type, everything is identifiable based on their characteristics. So in Python, every value that we go ahead using, that will also be identifiable based on the structure, properties, what the kind of value it is. So each value in Python program is of a specific type. So there is some data type which is associated with it. We can identify that type. And if you can identify that type, you can in advance also identify what operations can be performed on that type and what operations cannot be performed on that type. So term data type. Okay, so very common term, but we are discussing so much about it. So data type of a value determines how the data is represented in the computer and what operations can be performed on the data. So if I have a number, say integer, say number 7, that will tell me how will 7 be stored inside the computer memory because it's of type integer. So the type integer will give me an idea as to how that number 7 is represented on the bits of the computer memory. And on that type of value, it could be 70 or 700, it could be any value. On that type, on that value, what operations can be performed? Can I perform arithmetic operations? Can I perform logical operations? Can I perform comparisons? What can be performed? So every data type gives you two basic understanding over here. It tells you how it is represented in the memory. When I use the word memory, it's not your or my memory, it's a computer memory. So while the program is running, every data that we have has to be stored inside the computer memory. And the reason for that is, if you plan to carry out any operation on the data, if you understand, when you talk about a computer system, in a computer system, we have a processor. And it is this processor which is going to carry out an operation. In Python, we had that Python ka interpreter that is supposed to carry out an operation on the data. But for a data to be operated upon, or for an instruction to be executed, there is one precondition. The precondition is, if there is some data on which in any programming language, if you want to carry out an operation, unless and until that data is not stored in the computer memory, you cannot go ahead carrying out any operation on the data. You may say, sir, kya baat kar rahe ho aap? I had one file, and in that file I had some text, some numbers. We picked up that number in Excel and I operated upon it. No, that file was there on the hard disk, but when you double click that file came into the computer memory in the RAM. Hard disk is not the memory that I'm talking about. I'm talking about memory that is RAM. It came in the RAM, and your processor operates on the data which is present inside the RAM. So processor works on a principle of fetch and execute. It will fetch the data from the computer memory. Whenever I use the word memory, I am talking about RAM, random access memory, RAM. That's the RAM that we have, computer internal memory. If I have to say hard disk memory, I'll specially say hard disk. But whenever I use the term in the entire course, whenever I say memory, I mean the random access memory. RAM is what I'm talking about, the memory chip that is there in your machine. So the two most important component of your machine, it's the processor and the RAM, two most important component. So unless until the data is not stored in the computer memory, it cannot be operated upon. So data will be stored in the memory, processor will fetch the data or the instruction on the memory, and then it will go ahead carrying out operations on it. So the data types will decide how is this data stored in the computer memory, how is the data represented in the computer memory, and this data which has now been stored in the computer memory, what kind of operations are allowed to be performed on this data that is stored inside the computer memory. That is something that will be controlled by this data type, and this is true for all programming languages. So most of the languages that you'll be learning, using, or you may have learned, most of them have ability to differentiate between different types of data. They can understand difference between a character and a number and a real number and a complex number. They can understand difference between them, a number and an image and a date and a time. They can understand the difference between all of them. So each of these data is represented differently in the computer memory, and the data type tells us what operations can be performed and what operations cannot be performed on that type of data. So data type is something very important for us. A data type provided by the language itself is called as a primitive data type. So there are some built-in data types. Somebody says built-in, primitive, that comes in the language itself. The language internally has a support for those types. Language itself understands those types. We call them as primitive type. Python supports quite a few data types: numbers, text, strings, files, containers, and many others. So we're going to discuss all of them: numbers, text, strings, files, containers. Containers is a specialty of Python. Containers is a specialty of Python. The principal built-in data types, which are those? We have numeric types, we have sequences, we have mappings, we have classes, we have instances, and we also have exceptions. So there are so many different types of data. Don't be scared. All of them are very easy. We'll explore them one after another as we go ahead. Now, while I go ahead with this particular discussion further, we need to understand the Python prompt, because Python prompt actually acts more like a calculator for us. So when I say it acts like a calculator, we had a glimpse about it early days when we started the first session, when we looked at introduction to Python. There itself, we had a glimpse of it. Let's now look into more detail. We said Python has an interpreter. It can interpret every line, one line at a time, and then it can go ahead executing. So if that's the case, I can give one line where I have put some arithmetic expression. Will Python understand that arithmetic expression? Yes, it will not just understand that expression, it will also go ahead evaluating and solving that particular expression. So in Python, the interpreter can act as a simple calculator for us. You can type any expression at will and it will give you the value. Whatever expression you give, it will always solve that expression, give you the value. You can use all the arithmetic operators like plus, minus, into, divide. What you do in most of the languages, especially C language, Python is like, we have the implementation of Python, the technique, the original implementation of Python is in which language? Yes, somebody, come on, unmute yourself and answer.
C Python.
C Python. The original implementation of Python comes that is distributed to us is C Python. Okay, so it is the C Python that we're working on. Now, if you're working on C Python, then definitely we should be in a position to have operations which are very similar to C, and that's precisely what happens. So when you talk about operations, those who come from C background, you'll find the operators have exactly the same meaning over here. But then if I say 1 plus 2 minus 3 divided by 5, remember BODMAS rule that you have learned in school? There is an order in which the operators have to be evaluated. It's not like I'll first add and then I'll multiply. No, multiplication has higher precision than plus. All those rules are applicable for operations in Python as well. Okay. So if I say 2 plus 2, I get 4. I can put into parentheses and I can carry out some additional operation. So let's take an example that will give us an idea as to how we can carry out operations, and also explore some additional operators which have now been provided to us. And then we'll proceed with the further discussion. What I'll now do is I'll start with the command prompt. A glimpse as to how to start with running a Python from the command prompt. So I'm going to share the screen with you, and just see what I'm doing. Suppose if this is my desktop, I go and I start the command prompt. I start the command prompt by typing CMD. So when I type CMD, I'll get this command prompt. You can search for command prompt from in your machine. And when you start this command prompt, the command prompt has probably started. So once I started the command prompt, say I clear the screen, and I go to a directory of my choice, or I can start here itself. I'll say python. After I install Python, if you just type python, the Python has started. What is Python has started means what? I have this Python 3.9 that I have currently installed. Python, this is the Python prompt where I can issue some Python commands. So I decide to issue Python commands or any arithmetic expression that I want to write. See basic operations I'll try and carry out. I say 4 plus 5. It says answer is 9. I hope it's visible to everybody. Yeah? Is the shell visible? Python shell interpreter?
Yes.
Okay. I say 4 plus 5. I got answer as 9. I said 4 minus 5. It says answer is minus 1. Fine. I say 4 divided by 5. Oh, 5 divided by 3. It gives you answer as 1.666 is what it is. I say 3 divided by 5. I got answer as 0.6. Okay. I had number 43, 34, and I said 34 divided by 4. 35 divided by 4 is 8.5. But if I had said 34 divided by 4, I get only answer as 8. So while this division gave you a real number with a fractional precision, if I use this integer division double slash, it will ignore the precision. It will ignore the precision. Look at this. If I say 10 divided by 3, I get the precise answer. But if I say 10 divided by 3, 2 divide slides as symbol, that's integer division. I'll only get the integer part, the fractional part, the precision part is all being ignored right now. The precision part has now been ignored. So we can represent the data in there are various operators, and slowly we'll now look into various operators and find out how the operations can be carried out. So we have seen plus, minus, divide. We also looked at a new operator, that is integer division. Isn't it new for those who come from C++ background? We never had anything as integer division in C++, or a difference like integer division and this division we didn't have. Okay, if I say 10 divided by 3, I got this particular value 3.333. If I say 10 mod 3, I get the remainder. So if I say 10 divided by 3, I get the complete result of the calculation. That means the real with the precision, decimal precision is what I got. But if I say 10 mod 3, it will give me the remainder. That means if I divide 10 by 3, if I do the integer division, 10 divided by 3, if I do the integer, quotient is 3, remainder is 1, 3 3s are 9, remainder is 1. So this mod operator always gives you remainder. But then again, so those who are new should not bother when I always do the comparison between this language and other languages. You should just accept what is there in Python. But those who come from other programming language, you please watch it. In other languages, especially family of C, C++, Java, in all those languages, if I have 10 and if I say mod 7, I get the remainder 10, 7 ones are 7, remainder is 3, that's okay. But if in other languages, if I say 10.5 mod 7.1, it would generate an error. In most of the languages, in all family of C, you cannot carry out mod operation on floating point value. These are floating point numbers. Float means real numbers. On real numbers, mod operator doesn't work in most of the languages. What happens in Python? Does it allow? Python allows you to perform those kind of operations. So Python is different. So do not carry forward your knowledge about other languages and make an opinion about the language based on your experience in other language. Languages are different. With Java, C, C++, none of them allow you to carry out this modulus operation on floating point value. Floating point means on the real numbers. Python allows you to perform that particular operation. It allows you to perform that operation. So we have some operators. Now let me write some big equation. I say 3 plus 4 minus 2 minus 2. So when I say 3 plus 4 minus 2, plus and minus both have same precedence. So it will first add 3 plus 4, that is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5, and we got answer as 5. But suppose if I say 3 plus 2, this, into 5, if is that what I say. So in that case, this multiplication will happen first. 5 into 2 is 10, and then it will do the addition. 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 minus 10 will give answer as minus 3. Oh, I wanted to change the order of precedence. I wanted this entire thing to be solved and that to be multiplied by 5. So order over here was multiplication had higher precedence than plus and minus. Plus and minus had same precedence, but multiplication had a higher precedence. Multiplication got evaluated earlier. Recollect the BODMAS rule that we had, BOD. Okay, so BODMAS rule is not applicable as it is in languages, but at least remember there is a difference. There is a difference in precedence and priority that we have when we go ahead evaluating some arithmetic expressions. Now, if I want to change the order, I can very well do that. I can say, okay, do this operation first, brackets, change the order of evaluation. Now it's a bracket that will get evaluated first, and then you're going to have the result. So answer is 25. Why is it so? Because 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 minus 2 is 5, and 5 multiplied by 5. But when I did not use bracket, I got answer as minus 3. Why? Because it first multiplied this and then added this and then subtracted from 7, it subtracted by this 10. Just to give another example, if I had said 3 plus 5 into 5 minus 2, if I write this, so in that case, what will happen? 5 5 it will make it 25 first. 25 plus 3 minus 2. So it will give answer as 22. It will give answer as, oh, I went wrong. 5 into 5 is 25. 25 plus 3. 25 plus 3 will be 28. And 28 minus 2 will be 26. That's what we have got. Oh no, I wanted to add and subtract first and then multiply the result. Do it by using brackets. So remember, we have been doing this since our school days, but same thing is understood or by the languages as well. So you want to change the order of precedence, then I use brackets. So if I use brackets, brackets are the one that will get evaluated first. First 3 plus 5, then 5 minus 2. And what is the result of 3 plus 5? That is 7. 5 minus 2 is 3. So 7 into 3. And that's so 5 plus 3 is 8. 8, and this is 5 minus 2 is 3. And 8 into 3 is 24. That's the answer that I got. So we can change the order by using these brackets. By using this parenthesis, we can change the order. So that was about these basic operators that we come across. These are all arithmetic operators that we have seen: plus, minus, divide, mod. I introduced you to some special behavior, an operator called as integer division, and another operator mod that gives you a remainder, while this division gives you the division with the entire quotient, you can say, or the division it gives. Mod gives you the remainder of the integer division. So it will perform integer division, it will ignore the precision, the fractional part it is there, and it will give the remainder. It will give the remainder. It will not take the, so it is integer division. It will always give the remainder. So mod gives you the remainder, whereas division, integer division gives you only the quotient, Division gives you result with a fractional digit precision, decimal precision. So that was how we use the command prompt, the Python interpreter as a calculator. So if you want to do any, and the equation can be quite complex. Huh? You could have done some big equation also, you could have written. It will just solve it, okay, and give you the result. So that was about using Python as a calculator, Now, here, when I'm carrying out these operations, I'm using these particular values. And these results are not stored anywhere. Say, I was asked to calculate a bill amount. Listen, the rate of the product was 51 rupees. The rate of the product was 51 rupees. And I purchased 5 such items. So 51 into 5 is the bill that I have to pay. That's 255 rupees is what I have to pay, because I have purchased 5 items, each worth 51 rupees. So 51 into 5 will give me 255. Oh, if I have to reuse them, now that's the problem. How do I reuse? If I say underscore will give you the last result. Last result was 255. So if you want to have the last value, so I can say underscore plus 1. So underscore plus 1, it gives you 256. Okay, the last value is now 256. So if I say 256 minus 1, it will again give you 255. So keep in mind, even if I had said, oh, if I just say underscore once again, it will give you the answer as 255. So this underscore is a special significance over here. In the Python interpreter, whenever I use underscore, it will give the result of the last expression. So whatever is the last operation that you have carried out, so result of the last expression will be arrived at if I use this underscore. Now tell me, give me a feedback. Have you understood this, how to use Python as a calculator, Python interpreter as a calculator? You can just go there and start typing. If you're working with ideally, it would have shown you colorful also. So don't worry about the colors. Let it be in black and white, but we are in a position to use it as a calculator with all the parentheses and everything. Give me a quick feedback. If you understood, give me a feedback. Yes, no, click on those buttons where I know you are listening to me. If you're not understood, don't hesitate to ask the question. And you can ask in Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati, any language you can ask a question. I prefer you asking me either in Hindi or English. Reason for that is we have people from different areas. So Hindi and English could be our common language for all of us. Chaitrali, Harshada, Josna, Pragati.
Hello.
Yeah. Have you understood? Yes or no?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, you have been mistaken. It's not Harshada. It's Samiksha.
Okay, Samiksha. Have you understood what we have discussed
Yes,
so
sir.
far?
But
Huh.
yes, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask that is Python related to HTML type?
No, not at all. HTML is a scripting language. It's not even a programming language. Python is a programming language. Python is much more than HTML. Much more. No comparison at all. HTML is not a programming language.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Python can be used for any application development. HTML is only for web, and that too only for representation of data. No operations can be performed. Python is way beyond HTML.
Okay.
Have you watched the video that we had? Introduction देखा आपने?
No, sir. It's my means I have just logged in first. Today is the
Okay,
first day.
you must have received a mail today, and in that mail there is a link to the video. Today we have again sent you a mail, a reconfirmation mail we have sent. See, in that confirmation mail you will have link to the previous 2 videos, and there is where we had introduction to what is Python all about. So I request
Yes,
all
sir.
of you to
Yes.
watch that video. 2 videos. Sunday है कल, time है, देख लो जरूर video.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. I have one question.
Please go ahead.
Sir, can you please repeat the installation process of Python software?
We have not yet discussed installation, how to install.
Okay.
We have not discussed. I'll be demonstrating that. I'll be putting up a video how to install Python, and there is nothing in it, so it's just a 5 minutes video. So I will not be discussing in the classroom. I'll just show you a video. You can do it on your own.
Okay, no
If there are
problem.
any problems, we can connect after the session. I can take a remote of your machine. Listen, we have a very good feature over here through Zoom. Someday when you're installing something, especially Anaconda where kar rahe, and you're stuck up somewhere, things are not working out, you just have to stay back after the session. I will take the remote of your machine from here, and I'll rectify or I'll help you out with your installation. So don't worry about it. Although we are at a distance, technology has made everything possible. I can control your machine, and we can figure out what the problem is. So anytime you are stuck up some configuration, we can just connect after the session. Any other question? Josna, you have not responded. There are many. Priyanka, Rahul, Rohit. Either you say yes or you say no. You can give thumbs up. You can say thumbs down if you don't like it. But give some feedback. There has to be some feedback. If you have a question, you can ask a question. Supriya, Vijay, I need you to respond. It's like, and not just respond by this, what are these? Emotions. You should even speak out. You should ask queries. Don't wait for somebody else to ask a question on your behalf. You're going to pay your own fees. Nah? To ask your questions and get your doubts clarified. Okay. This is the beauty of the best advantage of going in for the live lectures. So because your questions will be answered there and there itself. And my promise to you is, promise, huh? It's a promise. I'll just not say 100% because I'm not God that I'll know everything. But 99%, whatever question that you ask related to this language, your question will be answered, your queries will be answered there and there itself. As far as it's related to Python, huh? So you shouldn't be asking something other than that. So what's your girlfriend's name? Or who was your first girlfriend? Yeah, these are not the kind of question. Anything related to Python, if you ask, which is a part of a syllabus, that question will be answered there and there itself. That question will be answered there and there itself. So don't hesitate to ask. And 1% I have left right now, because you may be asking something which has been introduced yesterday in Python and I do not know about it. So I'll say I'll get back and come back to you. But वो opportunity आपको शायद ही मिलेगा, chance नहीं मिलेगा आपको. But I keep that 1%. Harshada, Josna, come on, yaar, respond. Anjali, Vijay, mathematical logic. Okay, you understood how these mathematical operations work. Vijay, you just have to hold on, huh? Because in programming languages, what I showed you right now, don't call them as mathematical, call them as arithmetic operators. So currently, what I have shown you is only arithmetic operators. Only arithmetic operations is what we have performed. Okay. Uh, Rohit is asking, are there data types available in Python? Oh, that's what we are discussing. I told you there are all the different types which are available. Didn't I tell you there are numeric types, there are sequences, there are containers? Didn't I tell you that? So there are data types available in Python. It's just like how does it handle it? We started our discussion with these types. Didn't we discuss? We said there are different types of data, primitives, numbers, strings. Look at this. These are all the, can you see this? What I'm showing you? Is the screen visible? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No? Here, didn't I start with the discussion? There are built-in data types. I said there are numeric types, sequences,
No,
mapping,
sir.
classes,
Yes, now,
instances,
sir. Screen
exceptions.
is,
Pardon? No, screen is visible.
yes, sir. Screen are visible. Is visible.
Visible, no? Screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So there are different data types which are available. I know why whoever has asked this question, why he has asked this question, or Rohit has asked the question, are there data types available in Python? It a lot of times we happen is we learn things in bits and pieces. अब क्या होता है थोड़ा बहुत कहीं तो एक आध आर्टिकल पढ़ लेते हैं and then Python doesn't have the data types, but we don't read the entire story. Python has data types. Rohit, you don't have to feel sorry. I appreciate you at least asked a question. So, however, there is no question which is silly. It requires courage to ask the question. I always appreciate people who ask question, however silly you may feel it may be. Don't bother, because asking questions, getting your doubts clarified, shows your involvement in the session. You are listening. That's what it shows. When you are a passive observer, आप आके वहां बैठे बैठे सो रहे हो या क्या कर रहे हो वो भी नहीं पता चलेगा. If you are asking queries, it's a sign that you are alive. You are alive means you are learning Python. Okay, you are involved in that learning. So don't worry about you have come late or you have whatever has happened. Ask, get it clarified. Okay. So, but I'm just, because with all these years of experience, I can make out from the question what is happening, and most of the times I'm not wrong. What happens is Rohit must have read somewhere about data types in Python, and then he may have come across statement saying Python doesn't have data types. Okay. Now, when you say Python doesn't have data type, it may not be the case as what we do in other programming language. In C, C++, if I have to create a variable, I first have to specify the data type and then create a variable. In Python, it happens automatically. That does not mean there are no data types. I'll show you proof that there are these data types which are available in Python. And in the next topic itself, we'll be looking at those things. So what we have seen is some basic arithmetic operators which are there. We all have to use the right terms, because we are programmers now. Every day you learn new things, you are a better programmer every day. Every session you will become a better programmer. So now that arithmetic operators, that was not a term which was there on the slides. So there is where your notebook will come into picture. So you should note what symbols that we took. All of them were arithmetic data types, arithmetic operators that we have learned. So it's not like what I say or what I demonstrate has to appear on the slides. The basic topic will be there and we'll be talking something more also. So make sure that you take a note of it. Rohit asked a question, are there data types? I said, yes, there are data types. We listed on those data types. So even before we explore all the data types, in future, if anybody tells you Python doesn't have data types, ignore that guy. Okay, he doesn't deserve discussion as well. A basic concept, data types are there. Python is a language which is used for data processing as well. If the language cannot differentiate between different data types, that languages cannot be used for processing of data. Okay, and Python is used today in data science and everywhere. We play around with data by using Python. It couldn't happen if it could not differentiate or identify data types. Python has a very good support. Excuse me. It has a very good support for data types, much more than what your other programming languages have. Okay, now let's take the discussion further. If you remember in the last example, I carried out some kind of operation. I found out what was the bill amount that I had to pay. 255 rupees is something that I had to pay or something like that. But that instructions become so very difficult. If I show you some numbers and I try and ask you, what is that I have done? You can at the most tell me, sir, you are performing some arithmetic operation. Suppose if I write something like this over here, watch it. I write something. Okay, I'm writing something and you tell me what am I doing. You are going to find and tell me. Yeah? What is this I done?
Aggregate.
Average of four numbers.
Average of
Average
four
of four
numbers. So
number.
I assume average of four numbers. But was it meaningful? Or it could have been the case. These are your marks in maths. These are physics. These are biology. These are history, civics, and division by four. So you have found out your performance in the unit test and so on. Oh, these were average marks and so on. So having these particular values and then carrying out an operation doesn't make sense. We need to. It could be percentage. It could be average. But how do you know whether it's a percentage, whether it's an average, what you are trying to do? So for that particular purpose, we have to give names to these values. These values should be represented by some names so that we understand what is an operation that we are carrying out over here. I'll show you something more and then tell me what I'm trying to do. I'm going to show you something more and then you find out what is that I'm doing. Okay, so say I have some amount. Tell me, what is this? Whoever is speaking, there is a lag on in your connectivity. It seems I couldn't hear you. Anybody else?
Sir, this is the multiplication of float number.
Multiplication of float number, nothing more can you say about it. Okay, and not even float number, one was an integer and other was a real number. Yes or no? And you got some result. Array, this is not the case. This was something and this was something. If you really want to make your code more readable, listen to me. Huh? If you want to make your code readable, this is some very important operation that I performed. But this was just not readable. You did not know what this particular value is representing and what this value is representing. You only identified here I'm doing operation of multiplication. But that was not meaningful. If you really wanted to make meaningful, you ought to be aware of one very important concept called as variables. So variables are identifiers. Variables are names given to some location in the memory where some data is being stored. They are identifiers, they are names. So these numbers that I had right now, I can give them a name. And moment I give them a name, you'll immediately understand what I'm trying to do here. So let me just change that expression that I written, but just by giving it a name, an identifier, and then tell me what's happening. Okay, say I say now, is what I say. And then I go on to find I say this is equal to and then I print something like this. Have I got the same number that we had got last time?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now tell me, was this expression more readable or was this expression readable? The first one or the second one?
Second one.
Second one.
Second one is more readable.
Now in the
Second
second
one
one,
is
is there
more
any
readable.
confusion, any guesswork that you have to do now?
No.
No. So we understood this 50,000 was representing my total income and this 0.30 was my tax rate.
Tax rate.
And then what I found is income tax. So what are these three? Total income, tax rate, income tax. These are my
These are variables.
Very good.
Variables.
These are my variables. Variables refers to something that has been stored in the memory. They are identifiers. So there are several types of identifiers that will come across in programming languages. Listen to me very carefully. Identifier. That means it will identify something that is being stored in the memory. So these variables also identify something that has been stored in the memory. Now in Python, that's very interesting. Huh? And a surprise package for those who come from Java and C++ background. जिनको variable concept मालूम भी है, उनके लिए surprise package है. Variables are identifiers. They identify location in the memory where some data is stored. Now think about your RAM. your RAM, your means the machine's RAM, you matlab machine. Okay. So suppose this is the RAM. Suppose this is the RAM. This is the RAM, memory. This memory is made up of number of bits and bytes. So assume करते हैं कि ऐसे rows है और हर एक रो में number of bits and bits है और bytes है. Suppose let's say number of bytes है. ये आपका first byte bytes है, second byte, third byte, ये ऐसे bytes है. I hope you can see the diagram, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll be drawing and nothing is visible. So suppose this is RAM. RAM is made up of number of bytes. Assume karo, just this is logical representation. This is not true, but just assume this. So this is 1 byte. This is another byte. This is another byte, and so on. These are all bytes. Bytes means locations in the memory. The smallest unit of memory is bits, and collection of bits is 1 byte. So this is the memory areas that are there, and you have some value right now. We have some value. The value is stored at some location in the memory. Suppose there is some value which is stored at this location in the memory. At this location, there is some value which is stored. I have stored some value as 67 over here. Suppose if I stored some value as 67 over here, and there is some value that is being stored over here. There is some value that is being stored over here. And this value that I stored over here is suppose 88. This value that is stored is 88. Now point is, these are two different values stored at two different locations in memory. Means this location that I'm talking about, the first location that I'm talking about is different, and the second location that I'm talking about is different. These are all bytes. Suppose one number is stored in this byte, other number is stored in this particular byte. So when I talk about identifier, identifier is a name. Suppose these locations also have a number. That means, suppose let's give the number to this location. This is location number 1. Let's give the number. This is location number 1. This is location number, byte number 2, and this is byte number 3, and this is byte number suppose 4. This is byte number suppose 5, and so on, and so on. And this is byte number suppose 6. All these are addresses. I'll put it over here. So all these are the addresses of those bytes. Address means the number which identifies the location of the byte in the memory. So this is the first byte, this is the second byte, this is third byte, this is fourth byte, fifth byte, sixth byte. Correct? So this number 67 is stored at which number byte?
Fourth byte.
Fourth location.
Fourth location. Location is also a very good word. Location is also a very good word. It's just a number that identifies the location of that byte in the memory. Assume these are all bytes. The circles that I have done are bytes. This is the fourth byte in the memory. This is the fifth byte in the memory. So the address, as we normally say in most of the language, its address. The address of this number 67 is 4. That means it is stored at the fourth byte. If somebody says, I have 4 GB RAM, that means you have 4 GB bytes with you, 4 GB bytes, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 करते करते 10 to the power 9 तक जो भी रहेगा आपका 4 GB वहां तक के बाइट्स है. तो करंटली हमारे पास 6 बाइट्स है. सपोज 6 भी नहीं है, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 24 bytes. I have 24 bytes. So numbering can continue. 6, ये वाला नीचे 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ऐसे ऐसे रहेंगे. तो when I use the word identifier, identifier is a name given to a location memory. So this address number 4 जो है उस पे value 67 है. So to refer to that value, I have a name. So I can refer to this value by its address. That would be difficult. किसको मालूम है ना कौन से एड्रेस पे क्या स्टोर है? तो instead we create a variable. So variables are identifiers. So I can say the first number represented by marks in mathematics. If that's the case, if there are marks in mathematics, so why not give this variable a name called as math? I'll give that variable a name called as math. Oh, the second was my marks in history or social science or social studies or English, suppose. So I'll say that's my marks in English. So English and math are two different identifiers referring to two different locations in the memory. Math is referring to location number 4, where there is a value 67. English is referring to location number 6. Location means address number 6, where there is value 88. So English and math are two different identifiers. In the last example, I said total, what did I say? Total income. नहीं क्या? हाँ, total income. Total income ही कहा था ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Total
Yes,
income.
Total income. So I had said total income. कहाँ गया अपना slide अभी? Not this. अरे कहाँ है हम लोग? Here. Last time I had said total income is equal to 50,000. तो there is a possibility, ऐसा कुछ है, जरा विजुअली, don't take my this as a final word, जरा visualize करते हैं ऐसे ही कुछ. So this is the another byte, this is another byte. It could be byte number 7, suppose it could be byte number 7. The 1 2 3 4 5 6 तक आ गए हम लोग, तो this could possibly be byte number 7. Suppose byte number 7 है. इस byte number 7 पे आपने store किया है value, you have stored a value that is, suppose you have, sorry, at this byte number 7 you have now stored value that is 50,000. Suppose that's the value that we have stored. 5 lakh, suppose आपने 5 lakh store किया हुआ है, whatever it is, 5 lakh 50,000 जो भी है, 5 lakh हमने store किया है. So in our case we said, oh, we had an identifier that's referring to that particular location memory. So now we have an identifier that will now be referring to that location memory. So we have a variable called as total income. We have a variable called as total income, and that's referring to that location memory. That's referring to that location memory. So what do you understand about these variable names? Variable names are identifier. Now tell me, total income identifies which address? Refers to which address?
7.
7. It refers to address
7.
number 7. What is stored at address number 7?
Income, total income.
Value 50,000.
Total
5 lakhs.
50,000.
50,000 है 5 lakh है? 5 lakh है.
5 lakhs.
5 lakh.
5 lakh.
5 lakh. Okay. तो हमारे पास 5 lakh है. So total income is a identifier और कुछ नहीं, it's just an identifier. It's just a label that refers to a value which is stored at address number 7. तो address number 7 पे क्या stored है? तो 50,000 is being stored. 5 lakh is being stored. Likewise, math is a identifier that's referring to address number 7 where 67 is being stored. English is an identifier that refers to address 6 where 80 is being stored. So identifiers, variables are just identifiers. Just identifiers. They identify some location memory. The primarily in programming language, we come across two different identifiers. One identifier which identifies a location memory where some data is stored, they are called as variables. And other identifiers, they identify the location memory where some functions are stored, code is stored. Because code, Sagar, I'm coming to you. The code is also stored in the memory, so that will also require address. Data is also stored in memory, that will also require an address. So if your identifier refers to a location in the memory address, where if data is stored, we'll call it as a variable. If your identifier refers to a location memory where some instructions are stored, we'll call them as function. Yes, Sagar, go ahead.
So, sir, if I simply do a 5 plus 7 from my command prompt, okay, that time the manipulation happens by using their addresses, since I'm not giving any variable name. So that time it will manipulate the data by using their address, or it simply gives some random name to that particular value.
Okay.
So how?
I'll tell you. I'll answer that question. If you are working in C++, then you should really ask this question. You should be asking this question: how it is happening. In Python, we should not go into details as to how it is happening. What is happening is more important. Okay, but I'll still answer this particular question. I'll still answer this question because Python is a high-level language. It's not low-level like C, where we have an opportunity to cross-check everything that is there. But I'll still answer that question. It will not create an identifier because this identifier also takes some space. That means there is a name called as total income. Total income refers to address 7. Yes or no, Sagar?
Yes, actually that was my second question. Whenever I'm creating an identifier, it also requires some space.
It will also take up some space. So that could be sheer waste. Now, if I'm going to say 2 plus 5, these are constants. These constants will get evaluated at compile time itself. There is no need for you to go storing that particular data in the memory. The compile itself, at compile time, it will evaluate that particular thing and give you the answer. If there is something whose value can change in future, that is something that needs to be stored in the memory. So the compiler can do some operations at compile time, especially when it comes across some constant. So when I say 2 plus 5, it's a compile time expression. So even before it goes, so listen, if I say A plus B, that will be evaluated when the program runs. Look at this, Sagar. Others, if you don't understand, just forget. This is not required for you to understand. Agar samajh mein aaya to theek hai, nahi aaya to chhod do. But since Sagar has asked the question, let me answer this. If I say 2 plus 5, this particular expression will not be solved when you're running the program. This will get solved even before the code goes to the interpreter, because compiler itself can solve this particular thing, because here the values involved are constant, so it doesn't have to go to some address and fetch the value and see currently wahan value kya hai, wo read karna hai. Koi zaruri nahi hai. It can get solved at compile time itself. Initially only it will solve. and the direct answer will get substituted over there. But if I say a plus b, they are variables, and value of a variable can change. So that will not get solved at compile time. While running the program, it will go to that location number 7, location number 6, take the value from that location, and then solve the result and then give the answer. So if you have expressions which involves constants, 7 plus 3, constant say, that will get evaluated very fast as compared to expression involving variables. अगर आप लिखते हो जब समझो मैथ का स्कोर आपको 10 मार्क्स ग्रेस मिले मैथ्स में, तो 67 का 67 की जगह 77 कर देना है. तो when I say math plus 10, that will become 67 ka 77. No, that's not that simple. Math refers to address 4. So you'll have to go to address number 4, read the value 67, add 10 to it, and then again go ahead storing the value at that location 67, at that location 4. So I'll have to say math is equal to math plus 10. That is going to take more time to evaluate because variables refer to some location memory. So when you carry out an operation, it will read the value from the memory, operate, and then store the result in the memory. When I take constants, there was no need for me to store the result in the memory. Does that answer your question, Sagar?
Yeah. So just yes, it is answered. But I just want to say, I want to ask, if I say 5 plus 7, okay, so whatever result comes, as you said, it will get whenever I write this particular, it will not go for compile, and it will simply execute the this particular operation, and it will give the result. Okay. And once I'm done with this result, means once I get this result, so yeah, that particular data gets vanished from memory or what?
It was not stored in the memory, so no question of vanishing.
Okay. Yeah.
For it to vanish, it should be stored, na?
Yes.
So it was not stored. It was directly evaluated. It is an expression that got directly evaluated. If I create variables, they will get stored, and then they will be used in the evaluation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if I take constant, it will not be stored, so they can be evaluated quickly, immediately. They can, depends upon how the language has been implemented. It can directly go into the registers. अगर आप low level में जाते हैं, if you have programming background, it will directly go into the registers. CPU will directly evaluate it and give you the answer. It will not get stored in the RAM. सागर, आपको programming background है कुछ?
No, I don't have much.
Okay. Okay. So point is, it will not get stored. It will directly get evaluated. You can think. It will evaluate it directly and give you the answer. But if I create identifiers, that will definitely get stored.
Thank you.
Okay. There is one more question somebody has asked. Let me answer Shreya's question first. Shreya is asking, what's the difference between variable and a function? Both are same. Both are identifiers. Variables are also identifiers. Function names are also identifiers. Difference is, or same, more thing means what? What is same among them? Variables also identify some location memory. Functions also identify some location memory. Difference is, the location in the memory which is identified by the variable name has data stored over there. And location in the memory which is identified by the function name, that location doesn't have data, that has instructions over there. So put into definition terms, I'll say variable names are identifiers that identify location in the memory where some data is stored. Function names are also identifiers, but they identify the location in the memory where some instructions are stored. Is that clear, Shira?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is another question. Let me quickly answer that particular question. Mandar says, meaning you are defining everything? Yes. Mandar, can you elaborate? Everything means what? That's very broad, na? Everything, aisa nahi chale. Everything kaise? Okay. Shubhashri says, when I press underscore, how do I get the result of the last result? Oh, that was my shell that was managing it. Last ka last nahi milega aapko. Only the current result that is stored in the buffer memory, that is what we got. But that 4 plus 5, when you said neither 4 and 5 both are stored, you directly got the result. That is what was evaluated and stored. And that too into the same variable. Every time you carry an operation, there is this buffer memory area. Only the last answer is stored. Not all the previous answers are stored. Shubhashri, does that answer your question? Okay. So we talked about identifiers. Now, what we have just now discussed is generally what the case is. Python is different. It may be doing the things in a different way. Okay, but these are identifiers. So we understood a basic concept as to what variables are, what identifiers are, what variables are. They are identifiers. They are identifying location memory where something has now been stored. So let me clear the screen for you. Let's go ahead and let's understand something more about identifiers in variables in Python. Identifiers are names given to identify something. Identifiers are identifier जो किसी चीज को आइडेंटिफाई करेगा. It's gonna identify something. If you identify location where data is stored, we say it's a variable. We identify some location memory where some code is stored, instructions are stored, we say it's a function. Variable is a storage location in a computer program. So it's a storage location. It's actually not even a storage location. It's identifying a storage location, but we say it's a storage location. Visualize करने के लिए अच्छा है. It's a container. It's like a storage location. उसके अंदर हम लोग कुछ store करेंगे. Logically ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It's just an identifier which identifies the storage location where the data is stored. Data is stored in the memory, and variable tells us which memory it is being stored. And we can see that in Python. Each variable has a name and holds a value. So normally when we talk about this concept, when you read this instruction, so how do we visualize this? Each variable holds a value. तो जिन्होंने प्रोग्रामिंग भी किया है इन अदर लैंग्वेजेस, कुछ विजुअलाइजेशन ऐसे आता है. देयर इज दिस वेरिएबल एंड दिस वेरिएबल is storing a value. Isn't this what your visualization is? Normally I say variable stores a value, so we say this is a variable and that stores a value, and this variable has a name. That's what a normal programmer visualizes it at. Suppose this is a variable saying my data, so this is a variable called as data which is storing value as 78. Oh, this may be true in other languages, not in Python. This data is a name given to location where this value 78 is being stored. So we will not visualize data in this fashion when it comes to Python. इस तरीके से हम लोग visualize नहीं करेंगे. We will not visualize in this fashion. But we can say each variable has a name and holds a value. So every variable has a name. Total income, math, English. These are names, and names are readable. Names are meaningful. If I say 77, now tell me what is the 77 representing? If I say 7658. बताओ 7658 क्या है? How will you know? If I say 1 2 3 4 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 2 1 1 1 1, क्या है? It could be my credit card, it could be my Aadhaar card number, it could be anything. How will you identify that? It's always better that you give a name, so it becomes more meaningful. Variables are names that hold a value, so they are just names, and these names will be representing some value that has been stored in the memory. The first character of an identifier must be a letter, uppercase ASCII or lowercase or Unicode character or an underscore. So if you're creating a variable name, okay, variables in Python are created when you assign a value to it, and there is where the difference lies. So somebody had asked a question, does Python have a date type? I said yes, it does have a date type, and I said I'll prove it. It has date types. But the problem is, why that thought comes to our mind? Because in C and C++, if I have to use a variable, I have to first create a variable and then use it. Had you been a C programmer, if you want to store total income, you would have said in total income, then total income is equal to 50,000 and so on. In Python, when I say total income is equal to 50,000, variable is automatically created. Somebody asked me, I think it was Manoj, are we defining everything in Python? Oh no, you don't have to define anything in advance. You just have to start using it. Moment you use it, Python will automatically create that thing for you. You don't have to define. In other languages, you have to first create a variable and then use a variable. In Python, you use it, variable automatically get created. That's a big difference. So in other languages like family of C, Java, in other languages, you first create a variable saying this variable is going to store marks. So I'll say float marks, and then I'll say marks is equal to 76.5. or percentage equal to 76.5. In Python, you say marks equal to 76.5. It will understand, oh, 76.5 store क्या है? यानी ये floating point value है, ये real number है, जिसे हम लोग float कहते हैं. If I say name is equal to Sanjay, in other language I'll say string name and then name is equal to Sanjay. यहाँ कहिए name equal to Sanjay. You'll understand Sanjay store किया ना, ये string है, तो name is of type string. That's dynamic typing when it comes to Python. It will automatically identify the type of the variable. You don't have to specify the type of the variable. In most of the languages which are strongly typed, there we have to specify the type of the variable. Here Python itself identifies the type of the variable based on what value you are trying to store in that particular variable. Let me give you a proof of this. I said there are data types in Python, but I'm saying Python automatically identifies the type. See, I have a variable x, and in this variable x, I store value 56. Since I have stored value 56 into x, Python understand x should be of type integer. You say, show me the proof. Here is the proof. there is a function in Python called as type. If I ask you for it, what's type of X? It says is int. Oh, does it change? If I say X equal to 5.6, and then if I say type, it says float. Oh, if I say X is equal to Manoj, that's what I'm saying. Oh, I should say, double quotes chalna. X equal to Manoj. And then if I ask what's type of X, it says str, money string. So it's identifying it automatically. I don't have to bother. It has done that thing automatically for us. If I say X is equal to okay. So what is this? Oh, it's a list of names. Oh, is it? Let's check. Oh, it's a list. Python automatically identifies it. Have you noticed one thing? The type of X is changing every time. When I stored 5.6, it said it's a float. When I stored Manoj, it's saying it is a string. When I stored a list, it says it's a list. So Python is a dynamically typed language. Based on the type of data that you're trying to store in that variable, it will automatically identify the nature of the variable, and it will have a type. Look at that. It has types. It has type. So we have integer type, we have float type, we have string type, and there are several more types which are there in Python. So in Python, you don't have to create a variable in advance. Moment you assign a value to it, a variable is being created. In the last example, we did that. When I said total name equal to 50,000, oh, it created an integer variable because you're storing 50,000 into it. Then I said tax rate is equal to 0.30, it created a float type of variable, real number. Float is real numbers in Python. Huh? So when I said total income into tax rate, it created another variable of type float, and I could use that particular variable. So I had number of identifiers. How many identifiers I have over here? 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 identifiers that I have. But what did we say? We said identifiers identify some location in the memory, isn't it? That's what I said. So if I say I have a variable called as income. Say your income is 5 lakh. So 5 lakh is a value that is stored in income. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
No, that's not what really is the case. You are supposed to say yes, but actually ऐसा नहीं है. Actually क्या है? Anybody wants to make a guess? What's the actual case scenario?
परत नाही करू शकत का असं लीफ करून का?
Yes, what is the actual case? Anybody? When I said income is equal to 5 lakhs, somebody said 5 lakh is stored in income. That's what we say. But I have to explain to you what is the actual case. Anybody wants to give an answer? Sagar, yes?
Income is just identifier.
Pardon?
Income is just identifier.
How? Elaborate करो रोहित. क्या कह रहे? Income is just identifier means what?
वो point कर रहा है सिर्फ.
Pardon?
Income is just pointing to 50,000.
Pointing to 50,000. No. थोड़ा और elaborate करो.
Sir, 50,000 value is stored in income variables.
No, that's what we say. Actually, ऐसा नहीं
So
है.
income is identifying a location where 5 lakh.
Perfect. That means very correct. Perfect, Kanchan. Perfect. So what has happened? That 5 lakh 5,000 जो भी है, it is stored somewhere in the memory. किसी एड्रेस पे स्टोर्ड है, एड्रेस नंबर 7, एड्रेस नंबर सम एड्रेस, आई डोंट नो, सम एड्रेस इज स्टोर्ड, एंड इनकम इज जस्ट रेफरिंग टू दैट लोकेशन वेयर दैट वैल्यू इज बीइंग स्टोर्ड. यू वांट टू सी द प्रूफ ऑफ इट? हैव अ लुक एट इट. तो इन व्हाट वी नॉर्मली से, वी से 5 lakh or 50,000 is stored in income. That's what we say. स्टोरी ऐसी नहीं है. तो आई कैन सी दिस. This is the location where that number 50,000 has been stored. So this number 50,000 has been stored at this location in the memory. So this is the location where this number 50,000 is stored. So income is an identifier that's identifying this location in the memory. That's identifying this location in the memory. Tomorrow, if I say tax is equal to 0.3, tax is equal to 0.3, and then if I say value क्या है? अरे but value कहाँ की? Value at this location. So you want to see that, I can just say ID of tax. So ID of tax, oh, it is at this location, that value 3.3 is stored. You want to get that value, you say tax. When you say tax, you get the value at that location. So this is the location where this particular value has been stored. This is the actual picture. We should not get confused. Even if you say, sir, 50,000 is stored in income, I'll accept it. But since we are learning Python in detail and we want to be different, we don't want to be like any other programmer who learns normally kya kaha jata hai. We will also say in real world, if somebody asks me, what is this? I'll say 50,000 is stored in variable called as income, even in programming language. But you should have an understanding actually what is happening. Yeah, understanding important hai, because then you can write some good programs. You know what is happening internally. And that was my attempt to explain you what is happening internally. So when I say 50,000 is stored in income, कहने के लिए सही है. Logically हम ऐसा ही कहेंगे अपने पूरे life में while we write programs. But actually the case is, as Kanchan correctly said, 50,000 has been stored in some location memory. So income में क्या stored है? तो ये address stored है. और उस address पे number 50,000 stored है. In the program, whenever I use the variable name, so when I say tax, you are actually getting value which is stored at this address. So at this address, the value stored as this, and that means tax में क्या stored है? तो ये location stored है. So that was the actual story behind it. So Shubhish is asking, is it a RAM location? That could again make it a bit complex. I'll say, you can say for a moment, yes. Logically, yes. Logically, it's not the physical location. Logically, yes. It is some location memory where the data has been stored. So you could say so. It's a location in the memory. Location memory. But that क्या वो address actual RAM के अंदर का physical address था क्या? Not really. Management is done differently. But logically, yes, it is some location memory. It is some location memory. It's the logical address, not the physical address. So again, there is a difference between logical and physical address, but it is some location memory. It is some location memory. Have you understood this concept, everybody? Yes, Rohit, it is some identifier which will identify that unique location memory. And if I answer that question, what exactly it is, then we are rather creating language Python. We are not creators of Python. We are users of Python. We are users of Python. So let's not dig very deep into it. Let's understand at least the basic idea, what it is all about. Come on, others, give me a feedback. Shubham, Shubhashri, Vijay, समझ में आया concept नहीं?
Yes, sir, I understand.
तो टिक करो ना. Give a tick mark, give a thumbs up, give a thumbs down. कुछ तो feedback दो. Anjali, Chaitrali, everybody has to give a feedback. Pragati. Oh, Rahul is reminding me. Batch time खत्म हो गया. Yes, Rahul. So देखा मैंने. Rahul has given a most important feedback. 8:30 बजे है. सर रुक जाओ. Okay. आपको याद दिलाना होगा because आपके लेक्चर के बाद मेरा कोई लेक्चर नहीं होता है. तो very often it may happen I may extend. तो राहुल जैसे लोग चाहिए हमें जो याद दिलाएंगे कि अरे सर रुको. But I'll stop. But let us just quickly finish with this topic and then stop. So we understood what is a variable. Variable is defined the first time it is assigned a value. So unlike other languages, Rahul says it's by mistake. But चलो यार respond तो किया ना आपने. कई लोग तो respond ही नहीं कर रहे. तो कुछ भी करो यार, respond करो. मैं कह रहा हूँ thumbs down दिखाओ. नहीं पसंद आया, but respond करो. मुझे ये तो दिखाई दे कि आप लोग सुन रहे हैं मुझे. Okay. So variable is defined first time it is created and assigned a value. Isn't it different than other languages? Those who come from other programming language. In other programming languages, we had to create a variable first and then use it. In Python says when you use it, it will automatically get created. When I say x is equal to 5, x is created. Y is equal to 10, y is created. The equal to sign is used to assign a value to a variable. So we say it is assigning. Afterwards, no result is displayed before the next interactive prompt. So if I say width is equal to 20, value is 20 stored in width. I am saying that. Actually, हमें मालूम है. When I say height is equal to 5 into 9, oh, that value result is stored into height. Nothing happened. No answer was displayed. When I say width into height, then answer was displayed. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that. I have some subjects, their marks, and I want to print the average. So let's do that. Our requirement can be slightly different. Is the prompt visible, everybody? Shell?
No,
Python?
sir.
नहीं?
Yes, sir, visible.
क्या कह रहे हैं? कोई कह रहा है हाँ, कोई कह रहा नहीं.
Yes, sir, visible.
Visible है ना? Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
now.
do that. So suppose I was calculating area. So I have suppose height. I say height is equal to 45. Nothing has been displayed. 45 has been stored in height. That's what we say, but we know the real story. Yeah. Height. Then I say I have width. Width is equal to 40. Okay. So a variable has been created. and then I say area is equal to, suppose, height. Oh, equal to kaha gaya? I'm saying area is equal to height into, suppose, twice height into width, length into breadth, height into width, or whatever it is. Huh? So don't go by the formula, but whatever it is. So I write that particular statement. So when I say kuch to statement find kar liya, nothing has been displayed, but 3 variables I got created. One height, width, and area. I say 3 variables create ho gaye. When I say area, I'll get to see the area. Area is 1800 or something like that. Okay, so that calculation was done. So 3 variables were created, and the result of this expression was stored in this particular variable. Actually, हम लोग कह रहे stored in the variable, but हमें मालूम है वेरिएबल में मेरा कुछ स्टोर नहीं होता है. दैट वेरिएबल इज आइडेंटिफायर व्हिच रेफर्स टू द लोकेशन वेयर द डेटा इज बीइंग स्टोर्ड, वेयर द डेटा इज बीइंग स्टोर्ड. सो इन पाइथन the variables are created moment you assign a value to it. We assign value by using equal to. So whenever you assign a value to a variable will automatically get created. That is different as compared to other programming languages. In other programming languages, we have to first create a variable and then use it. Python, it just gets created. Value can be assigned to a variable, to several variables simultaneously. Yes, Sagar, quickly पूछो, question क्या है?
Yeah. So if I, in the same note, if I use variable names repeatedly, means if I say x is equal to 28, suppose my age, and x is equal to my name, okay, and if I print.
We lost you, Sagar.
I am saving both the values in x, so how it will manipulate? I think it will take the last one only, right?
We lost you in between. Repeat again.
Yeah. Suppose I want to store my name and age, okay, and I'm using same variable name. X is equal to some integer number, and x is equal to some character number, okay, character in x only. And if I print, my name is x and my age is x.
This is what you said?
Yes.
Okay, मैंने कहा name equal Sagar. So name was referring to location where Sagar is stored first. Then name is referring to location where 21 is stored. तो latest क्या बचा आपके पास? 21 ही सिर्फ. तो you'll only get your age.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I was asking something else. Okay, no worries.
No, ask. Go ahead.
So I just want to ask you, if I use same variable names in my function, suppose repeatedly, so the chances of getting that particular value for this identifier is the last one only.
Chances नहीं. That will always be the case. जो last value stored है वही मिलेगा आपको.
Okay.
There's no other thing. But that's for the scope within that function. In another function, you have a same name that is for a different variable. So the variable life is also determined by the scope. So currently I have not talked about scope, but within one function, if you do it twice, you will only get the last value. The previous values are lost.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Previous values are lost. Yeah, latest value will not just display, only the latest value stored. The previous Sagar is garbage collected. Sagar को उठा दिया मैं clean हो जाएगा Sagar. So when I say name equal to Sagar, now I say name equal to 21. अभी Sagar को कोई refer कर रहा है क्या? Because name is now referring to a location where 21 has been stored. So nobody is now referring to location where Sagar is stored. So Sagar will be garbage collected. यानी Sagar जो memory में पड़ा हुआ है उसे हटा दिया जाएगा memory से. We'll lose Sagar from the memory. The data Sagar will no longer be there in the memory. Will be removed from memory.
So that means within a scope you need to use the
unique names. Unique names.
Okay.
Identifiers always have to be unique within a scope. So Rohit is asking me, sir, in other language it will override. In Python it will not override. It will lose it. It will clean it. In other, just to show you, just to answer Rohit's question, watch it. When I said first, name equal to Sagar, and if I say ID of name, so it is giving me some number. So this is the number where Sagar has been stored, and name is referring to that number location where Sagar has been stored. And then when I said name equal to 21, and now if I say ID of name, look, I got a different number. Can you see the differences, both everybody? So this was the location where Sagar has been stored. So name was referring to this location where Sagar has been stored. Now when I say name equal to 21, now name refers to another location where the number 21 has been stored. So the address is also changed. Now name is referring to some other location. Okay. Rohit, does it clarify?
Sir.
Okay. So that was about identifiers that we are looking at. So variables can be assigned value, several variables simultaneously. So I can say x equal to y equal to z equal to 0. All these variables will get assigned value at one time. Say I'm creating a variable saying x is equal to 5. and then I say y equal to 5, and then z is equal to 5. Arey, why are you wasting time? X का value 5 है, y का value 5 है, z का value 5 है. You really want to do that? Say x is equal to y is equal to z is equal to 8. And x भी 8 है, y भी 8 है, और z भी 8 है. You're going to assign it at one time only. Why waste time? Why waste time? In interactive mode, the last printable expression is assigned to a variable called as underscore. So underscore is also a variable. So when I say tax equal, and we saw that tax equal to something, price equal to something, and I say price into tax, that's the result. So the last result will be stored in underscore. So if I say price plus underscore, then in that case, that operation will happen. I say round plus underscore, I'll get that particular result as well. Let's do that and see. Suppose we are doing some calculations. We are doing some calculation, like I'm finding discount. I'm finding some discount. I want to find the discount amount. So suppose the product rate. Okay. Suppose the rate of the product was 51 rupees, and the quantity that you have purchased is suppose 5. Quantity that you have purchased is suppose 5. So your bill amount is equal to rate into quantity. So you got the bill amount. So we saw the bill amount. Bill amount is 255 rupees. Oh, you are giving 10% discount on it. So if I am giving 10% discount on it, तो मुझे discount amount क्या है जानना है. I want to know the discount amount. So I say, okay, 10 means 10 divided by 100. So 0.10. So discount amount is 25.5 rupees discount देना जाना. अरे मैं तो भूल गया. I had to store in this variable in a variable called discount. No worry. ये आपका underscore तो है ना. Underscore is still the variable. So this variable now refers to that last value that was being printed. Oh, so I need to subtract this discount amount from the bill amount. So I know how much is to be paid. So I can very well say bill minus underscore. So when I say bill minus, we don't do this ever, but in the interactive prompt this is available. So if I say bill minus underscore is the amount payable. So amount payable, discount subtract करेंगे ना. So I am saying bill minus underscore. So let's see what's the amount payable. So amount payable is 29.5 because our bill was rupees 255. Then we calculated the discount. Discount came out to be 25.5, but we forgot to store it. So it was stored in underscore. So what did I do? I say amount payable is bill amount minus that discount amount. Don't do that, but that can be done. And then I see amount payable. So ये था 255 minus 25.5 that I got 29.5. Underscore came into action here. Underscore is what we have seen. The behavior of underscore is what we have seen. Here we go. Variables in Python can store a value of any type. We saw that. Tax rate पहले 5 store किया, फिर 5.5 store किया. सागर में देखा भी name is equal to सागर का, name equal to 21 का. You can store different types of value at any point of time. Okay. If I say x equal to 3, oh, this is something very important. I'm just deciding whether we should take it next time or because we already passed the time. Okay. Can we continue for another 5 minutes or should we take the rest of the topic later? Yes or no, bataiye. Quick. Should we continue for another 5 minutes or should we take it next time? Last part of our discussion.
Continue.
Yes, अगर 5 minutes continue करना है, no अगर next time लेना है. Quick, yes or no?
Continue.
Continue. So we'll just quickly finish it off. छोटा सा part है, and this is a shocker for those who come from programming languages. उनके लिए. Now, everybody have a look over here. I'll directly run a code and show you. So I am writing a statement. If I say x is equal to 5, come on, tell me what will happen.
X will identify a location where 5 is stored.
Very correct. And if I say y is equal to 5, now what will happen?
5 will be stored at some location where that is identified by y.
Y. So these are two different identifiers that we have created.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. They identify two different locations in memory, but at both the locations, suppose had I said y is equal to 8. Okay. And if I say ID of x, I got some location. If I say ID of y, I got some location. So tell me at this location, what is stored?
5.
5. At this location, what is stored?
8.
8. Everyone understood this. Suppose I again say x is equal to 10. And I have another variable called as y is equal to 10. So I have again created two different variables.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Both these variables are identifying two different locations in memory, but at those locations, what is stored? Same value, but story is different over here in Python. If I now look at ID of X, it gives me this address. And if I look at ID of Y, I get the same address. That means it will not create unnecessary two different locations where that number 10 will get stored again and again. This will happen in different languages. In other languages, 10 will store at one location, again 10 will get stored at another location, and X and Y will be two different identifiers pointing to two different locations where the same value is stored. In Python, that's not the case. It is optimizing memory. It is utilizing the memory in the most effective manner. So what is Python doing? What is Python doing? When you're trying to perform such an operation, there is an interesting behavior that Python really goes ahead with. And let's understand what that behavior is. So when I say X equal to 3, so what will happen? X is now referring to some location where 3 is stored. But when I say Y equal to X, what is happening now? Y and X, both of them are pointing to same location where 3 is stored. But the moment I say Y equal to 2, that means value is different. Then now Y will, X is pointing to location where 3 is stored and Y is pointing to another location where 2 is being stored. So story is different as compared to other languages. Hey, if you had watched this particular thing right now, what had happened, the things are actually very different. Here, look at this. When I say X is equal to 5, and then I say X is equal to Y, yeah? I said Y is also equal to 5. And in that case, when I saw the ID of X, and I also saw ID of Y, both came out to same. That means X and Y both are referring to the same location value. So number 5 is not being duplicated. 2 times number 5 has not got stored. It has been stored only once. And both the identifiers are identifying the same location value. But the moment I say Y is equal to 8, now if I look at the ID is different. It has got stored at 5296. Earlier it was at 5360. Now it is at 5296. Now they are pointing to two different locations value. That's something very, very different as compared to other languages. They're very different. So that's the beauty of Python. It will not unnecessarily waste memory by duplicating, storing the same data again and again. Variables can be assigned to other variable, like I said, X equal to Y. They can be reassigned anytime. Anytime you can go ahead storing any other value. Several variables can be assigned at the same time. X equal to Y equal to 8. We could do that. So variable can be assigned a variable. One variable can be assigned value of another variable. You can reassign the variable with new number. And several variables can be assigned. Look at this. This is something packing and unpacking. Another very interesting behavior. Normally, if I had to say X is equal to Y equal to Z equal to 10, you will say, sir, all of them are having same value, X, Y, and Z. This is okay. This is available in all the languages. What is special about Python? I can say X, comma, Y, comma, Z is equal to 20, 30, 40. So the first number 20 will get assigned to X, second number 30 will get assigned to Y, third number 40 will get assigned to Z. Automatically it will identify. Watch it. X is 20, Y is 30, and Z is 40. Isn't it special? You are saying X equal to Y equal to Z equal to 20, 30, 40. How it happens, you'll understand later. But then that's a concept called as unpacking. What is being unpacked, I'll teach you later. But primarily when you look at multiple values can be assigned to multiple variables at one go. Same value can be assigned to multiple variables by using equal to, but multiple values can be assigned to multiple variables at one time. That's something very interesting when it comes to Python. That brings us to the end of the very basic discussion of what variables are all about. I hope you liked it. I hope you understood this particular topic. If there are any questions, please ask. If you understood, please give a feedback. Yes, no, kuch to feedback dijiyega. If you liked it, Shubham has given that. Okay, Urmila, thank you, Urmila. Thank you, Shubham. They have given some other reactions, but anyway, give some reaction at least. Let me know whether you understood, kuch doubt hai, kuch kya hai. Now we are done with the topic for today. See you day after tomorrow. As you take admissions, you will get those mails from our side where all the softwares will be downloaded for you. Everything will be there. You will get an access to e-learning portal, jahan se aap sare contents वगैरह भी download कर सकते हो. Things will proceed. If you have friends who are interested, please ask them, share the links with them, ask them also to join. And any questions, please go ahead and ask. Shubhashri has a question, math equal to 50, English equal to 50. And if maths increase later, engineering will also increase? No. That's what we did right now. Look at this. Shubhashri ka question kya hai? It's a good question. She says, if I had a variable called as math, that's marks are 60. I also had English. English ka marks is also 60. So yeah, I showed you ID of math is something, ID of English is also same. That means both are pointing to same location. कल जाके आपके मैथ्स के मार्क्स रीवैल्यूएशन में इंक्रीज हो जाते हैं टू 78. Okay, that doesn't mean English के marks will change. Math is now 78. English is still 60 because now math is referring to some other location. Look at the ID of math now. ID of math अलग हो चुका है. 6061 पहले क्या था 5540. But अपना English का क्या है ID? Let's check it out. If I say ID of English is still the same 5540. Can you see that? 5540. Look at this diagram. Don't forget this diagram. This diagram was actually spelling out the story. When I said y equal to 3, x equal to 3, y equal to x, that means both of them were referring to same location. But moment I said y equal to 2, some other value has been changed stored. Look what has happened. Both are referring to two different locations in memory. Is that okay, Shubhashri? Yeah. So if you have question, maybe I have discussed it, फिर भी confusion आ रहा है, get it clarified, make a note of it. आज जो समझ में आएगा वो हमेशा याद नहीं रहेगा unless you don't keep a note of it. अगर आपने note लिखा है, so when you refer to that note, you will immediately understand, अरे क्या discuss किया था, क्या example लिया था. फिर ये notes बाकी सारा revision कर book वापस खोल के देखने, text books पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. Your notebook will be a Bible for you, Gita for you, Quran for you. So make sure you take notes. Okay. So Prarthana is asking, is this course free or paid? Okay, free doesn't have value. No, it's not even paid. It's an investment that you're doing for your own career. So that investment is for your sincerity. It's for gaining something out of it. Free रहेगा तो commitment नहीं होता है. People don't even complete the course. Free था, value नहीं है. It's a paid course. It's an investment that you're doing for your future career. Any other question, anybody? That's all for today. Okay. Thank you all for attending the session. Good night, everybody. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye. See you on Tuesday. You'll get a mail from our side Tuesday. Invite your friends also to join the session if you like the session. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.